My niece demanded I give up my cabin for her wedding venue, but when I refused, she never expected my ultimate revenge. Hello, beautiful people. I'm Evelyn Harper, 68 years young, sitting in my cozy cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, where the pines whisper and the stars feel close enough to touch. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I share stories from a life that's been a roller coaster of joy, heartbreak, and hard-won wisdom. To my 50 loyal subscribers, you're my family, and I'm grateful for every one of you. If you're new here, pull up a chair, hit that subscribe button, and let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. Today, I'm sharing a story that's got it all. Betrayal by those closest to me. Twists that'll leave you stunned, and a comeback that proves you're never too old to turn pain into power. It's called My Niece Demanded I Give Up My Cabin for Her Wedding Venue, but when I refused, she never expected my ultimate revenge. This isn't just a tale of family drama. It's about using every lesson life's thrown at you, whether it's sewing a patch or rebuilding a dream to rise above. If you're over 50, or even if you're not, and you've ever felt betrayed, overlooked, or counted out, this story's for you. Those skills you've picked up over the years, cooking, fixing, listening, they're your armor. Those betrayals. Just plot twists, not the end. This is a long one, about an hour and 15 minutes when read aloud. So grab a coffee, maybe a tissue, and let's dive in. My hope is that by the end you'll feel inspired to keep going, no matter what life throws your way. Asterisk. I was born in 1957 in Dalton, Georgia. Small mill town where the air was thick with the hum of textile looms and the faint scent of cotton dust. My parents, Clara and Henry, were the backbone of our family. Dad worked grueling shifts at the textile mill, his hands stained with machine oil. His shoulders stooped by the time he was 40. Mom was a seamstress, her fingers dancing over her old Singer sewing machine in our cramped living room, stitching dresses for the town's wealthier ladies to make ends meet. We lived in a clapboard house with a sagging porch. 5 kids packed in tight, my 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters, and me, the middle child, always caught in the chaos of their laughter and squabbles. Money was scarce, but love wasn't. Mom taught me early that skills were our ticket to something better. At 8, she sat me down at her sewing table, the lamp casting a warm glow over bolts of scrap fabric. "Evelyn," she'd say, her voice firm but kind, "learn to make something from nothing and you'll never be helpless." I threaded needles, patched my brother's torn overalls, and by 12, I was earning nickels hemming neighbors' skirts. Those early lessons stuck like glue. Every stitch was a step toward independence. Asterisk. Life threw its first big punch when I was 17. The mill closed in 74. A casualty of factories moving overseas. Dad lost his job and Mom's health started failing. Too many years breathing lint, the doctors said. We lost our home, moving into a drafty apartment with peeling wallpaper. My siblings scattered my brothers to Atlanta for construction jobs. My sisters to early marriages that promised escape, but often delivered new cages. I could have folded, but Mom's words echoed. Make something from nothing. I got a job at a diner, flipping burgers, wiping tables, and charming tips from truckers with my quick smile. Nights I took community college classes, bookkeeping, typing, skills I knew would open doors. I'd fall asleep over my textbooks, dreaming of a life where I didn't have to count pennies. At 20, I met Jack Harper, a mechanic with a steady heart and hands that could fix anything from a carburetor to a broken chair. He had a laugh that filled a room and eyes that saw me, really saw me. We married in 77, a small ceremony in a church with chipped paint, and moved to Atlanta for better opportunities. Jack worked at an auto shop, and I landed a job as a secretary at a real estate firm. But I wasn't content just punching a clock. I'd seen how fast life could pull the rug out, so I started reading library books on investing, real estate, anything to get ahead. Why rent when we can own? I'd tell Jack, my voice buzzing with possibility. In 79, we saved every dime, bought our first fixer-upper, crumbling bungalow in a rough part of town. I painted walls until my arms ached, sewed curtains from discount fabric, even learned basic plumbing from dog-eared manuals. We sold it for a $10,000 profit, a fortune back then. That was the start. Buy, fix, sell, repeat. By the time our son Tommy was born in '82, we had 3 properties, a small nest egg, and a dream of building something lasting. But life's never a straight line. In '95, Jack started coughing, a deep rattling sound that wouldn't quit. The diagnosis came like a sledgehammer: lung cancer from years breathing exhaust fumes at the shop. He fought for 2 years: chemo, radiation, hope fading with every hospital visit. We lost him in '97 when he was just 45. I was 40. A widow with a 13-year-old son and a mountain of medical bills. Grief was a tidal wave, crashing over me at night when I'd cry in the shower so Tommy wouldn't hear. I'd look in the mirror, my eyes puffy, and wonder how I'd keep our home, keep food on the table. But Mom's voice rang clear: make something from nothing. I turned our house into a weekend bed and breakfast, sewing quilts, baking pies, and serving guests with a smile I didn't always feel. I took on freelance bookkeeping for local businesses, balancing ledgers until 2 a.m. Tommy and I ate a lot of ramen, but we survived. Lessons learned in the dark light the way forward. I'd tell him, holding him close when he missed his dad. By my 50s, life had steadied. Tommy was grown, married to a sweet woman named Karen, with 2 kids, my grandbabies, Lily and Max. I've built a modest real estate portfolio, 5 rental properties in Atlanta, each one a testament to years of grit. But my heart was elsewhere. I'd always dreamed of a quiet place in the mountains, where the air was crisp and the world felt still. In 2010, I found it, a rundown cabin on 10 acres near Asheville, North Carolina. The roof leaked, the windows were cracked, and the land was a tangle of briars. But it was a steal at $80,000. I saw its bones, its soul, a place to heal, to build something just for me. For 5 years, I poured my heart into that cabin. I learned carpentry from online forums. YouTube wasn't big yet, but DIY message boards were gold. I'd spend weekends sanding beams, my hands blistered, the smell of sawdust filling the air. I planted a garden: tomatoes, zucchini, herbs, learning from trial and error when half my crops died the first year. A neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins, taught me to install solar panels, chuckling as I fumbled with wires. "You're stubborn, Evelyn," he'd say. "That's why you'll make it." By 2015, the cabin was my sanctuary, a cozy 800-square-foot haven with a stone fireplace, a porch overlooking a pond, and wildflowers blooming in spring. I retired from full-time work, renting it out as a vacation spot on Airbnb to supplement my income. Every nail, every seed planted was proof of what I'd built from nothing. I'd sit on that porch at dusk, watching fireflies, thinking about Mom, Jack. All the lessons that got me here. Skills are your freedom, Mom had said. She was right. Sewing, bookkeeping, fixing houses, they've carried me through loss, poverty, and doubt. This cabin wasn't just a home. It was a monument to resilience. Asterisk, enter my niece Sarah, my sister Linda's daughter. Linda and I were close growing up, sharing secrets under the covers in our childhood bedroom. But life pulled us apart. She married young, had Sarah in '95, and spoiled her rotten. Sarah grew up with everything handed to her: dance lessons, new clothes, no chores. By her 20s, she was an influencer, posting selfies and unboxing videos, living off Linda's dime. At family reunions, she'd sit in a corner, scrolling her phone, complaining about her hard life while the rest of us washed dishes. In 2023. Sarah, then 28, got engaged to Mark, a flashy salesman with a smile too perfect to trust. Wanted a rustic chic wedding: think Pinterest boards with mason jars and fairy lights? One April morning, Linda called, her voice syrupy. "Evelyn, Sarah's in love with your cabin. It's perfect for her wedding: the woods, the pond, that cozy vibe. She wants to use it for free, of course. Your family, right?" I chuckled, thinking she was joking. "Linda, it's my home. I'd love to host a small family gathering, but a 200-guest wedding? It'd tear up the land. mess with my rentals. I can't afford that. Linda's tone sharpened. Afford. You've got those properties? That cabin? Don't be stingy. I held firm, but a week later, Sarah showed up unannounced, her SUV kicking up gravel on my drive. Aunt Evie, she cooed, hugging me like we were best friends. This place is adorable. Imagine string lights in the trees, a ceremony by the pond. It's my dream venue. We sat on the porch, sipping coffee, the spring breeze carrying the scent of lilacs. Sarah, honey, I said gently, I'm flattered, but no. This cabin is my livelihood. Weddings mean permits, insurance, hikes, cleanup. It's not just a backyard. It's my business. Her face twisted like I'd slapped her. Business. You're loaded from flipping houses. Mom says you hoard money. It's one weekend, Aunt Evie. If you loved me, you'd do it. I kept my voice steady. It's not about love. It's about boundaries. I've worked my whole life for this. There's plenty of venues in Asheville. Find one. She stormed off, slamming her car door. That night, the text started. Selfish old woman. You'll regret this. Then the family piled on. Linda called, sobbing. How could you deny your niece? After all we've been through. My cousins unfriended me on Facebook, whispering I'd changed, gotten greedy. Even Tommy, my own son, wavered. Mom, maybe find a compromise. He said over dinner, his eyes avoiding mine. It was betrayal, raw and jagged, from the people who should have known my struggles. Emotional hook. Have you ever been blindsided by family? The ones supposed to have your back? It's a pain that cuts deeper than any stranger's words. I'd faced loss, poverty, grief, but this, it cracked something inside me. At 66, I lay awake nights, questioning if I was the villain, if I'd somehow failed them. The real twist came a month later. Sarah didn't just sulk, she went nuclear. She posted on Instagram and TikTok, my greedy aunt won't let me use her cabin for my wedding. Hashtag family drama, hashtag entitled boomers. She filmed a tearful video, standing in what looked like a staged rustic field, calling me out by name. Evelyn Harper cares more about money than family, she said, her mascara artfully smudged. The post went semi-viral in her circled 10,000 views, hundreds of comments. What a witch. Boycott her, rentals. Who does that to their niece? My Airbnb bookings dried up overnight. Guests canceled, citing ethical concerns. I lost $5,000 that summer. A gut punch when you're retired and counting on every dollar. Panic set in. How would I pay property taxes, utilities, keep the cabin? I'd check my phone daily, watching the numbers dwindle, my heart racing. I'd walk the cabin's creaky floors at midnight, the silence heavy. Wondering if I'd lose everything I'd built? I could have fought back, hired a lawyer, posted my side online. But at 66, I'd learned something. Reacting in anger only burns you out. Mom's voice echoed. Make something from nothing. Jax 2. Fix what's broken, Evie. Revenge. Not the petty kind. My ultimate revenge would be rising above, turning their betrayal into my triumph. I dusted off my old Singer sewing machine, its hum a comfort like an old friend. I started making quilts mountain-themed, with patterns of bears, pines, and starry skies, using fabrics I'd collected over years. I set up an Etsy shop, Evelyn's Mountain Quilts, teaching myself to photograph them in the cabin's soft light. The first sale, $75 for a lap quilt, felt like a lifeline. But I knew quilts alone wouldn't save me. Then came the big idea. I'd stop renting the cabin short-term. It was too risky with Sarah's smear campaign. Instead, I'd turn it into a retreat space. Learn life skills in the mountains. Workshops for women over 50. Teaching, sewing, gardening, basic home repair skills that had saved me time and again. I'd market it as empowerment, a place to rebuild after life's storms. I started small, posting free YouTube videos. Fix a leaky faucet for $10, so a patch that lasts. My channel was tiny, 50 subscribers, but views crept up. 100, then 500. A local news station caught wind after a viewer emailed them. They interviewed me in July 2023. my hands trembling as I stood by the pond. Betrayal hurts. I told the reporter, but it doesn't define you. I'm teaching women to use their skills to stand tall. The segment aired, and bookings poured in women from Georgia, Tennessee, even Virginia, all with stories of divorce, job loss, or betrayal. We'd sit around the cabin's oak table, stitching quilts, sharing tears and laughter. One woman, Diane, a 62-year-old widow, said, "Evelyn, you showed me I'm not done yet." Emotional hook. Ever feel like life's counted you out? Those skills you've got there, your comeback. The second twist hit. In October 2023, Sarah's wedding imploded. Mark cheated, exposed by a bridesmaid who'd seen texts on his phone. Sarah was humiliated, her influencer dreams crumbling as sponsors dropped her. One rainy evening, my phone rang. "Aunt Evie," she said, her voice small. "I was wrong. I'm broke, Mark Escon. Can I stay at the cabin?" I paused, memories of her venom stinging. But wisdom won. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's strength. "You can come," I said, "but you'll work for your keep. Help with classes, learn a skill." She arrived, eyes red, designer bags swapped for a duffel. For a month, I taught her sewing, budgeting, even planting herbs. We had tense nights, her snapping at first, me staying calm. But slowly she opened up, tears falling as she admitted her entitled upbringing left her unprepared for life. One evening by the fireplace, she hugged me. "I'm sorry, Aunt Evie. You didn't deserve what I did." In November, she posted online, "My aunt taught me more than I deserved. #grateful, #life lessons." Her followers shifted, drawn to her honesty. She stayed on, helping with retreats, finding purpose by 2024. My retreats were booked solid, revenue tripling. I hired help, expanded workshops. Tommy came around proud. "Mom, you turned poison into medicine." My YouTube channel grew not huge, but enough to connect with folks like you. At 68, I'm thriving. Proof age is no barrier. Sarah's learning, too, building her own path. If this story hit you, remember, don't lose hope. Those skills, cooking, fixing, listening, are your power. Betrayals are plot twists, not endings. Use your wisdom to rise. If you're watching, subscribe, share your story in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? Hit that like button if this inspired you. Keep building, keep hoping. This is Evelyn signing off from the mountains.